Yeah. I mean, like, I still have my qualms with the ending. I think there are, like, there was a lot that was presented to us within this ending, and I think a big problem was that the mystery of season 4. So every like season had the mystery that they were building up towards, and the mystery for season 4 was what the fuck was Eren doing? Like this entire time, right? We really did not know what he was thinking, and then he kind of like dumped 20 million different things like to us in about like 5 minutes or something, and I'm like, I get it. I think there's
his motivation felt very like, I just want a genocide.
Yeah,
he just wanted to watch the world. Like, I just think it's a good idea, and it's like, well,
yeah,
why?
At the beginning, it was like it kind of felt like, I just want a genocide. Oh no, wait, I wanted you guys to do this. Oh no, wait, I needed to enact this timeline because my mind is fucked up.
Yeah,
there was just a lot.
Zero planning.
It almost felt like every part of Attack on Titan had been planned up until like this point.
Yeah.
Because before that, it just felt like everything had been so meticulously planned, and then you got to this point, and it just kind of felt like, let's just throw a bunch of things at the wall, and maybe something is going to like stick with everything. But like to me, it kind of felt confusing, where if you just had like a few extra scenes just to tell me what was going through Eren's mind, I think that would have like cleared things up perfectly.
I had this thought, and I don't know if it's like blasphemous to say this. When they were kind of doing a bunch of the ending stuff on the final season, I remember sitting there thinking like, man, I feel like if this was Hunter x Hunter, like his way of explaining things, I'd be so into this. It's just a different way.
Well, Togashi built different.
The way that Togashi explains stupidly, like the way that he'll tell me something complicated that I know is dumb, but he'll just make it seem so cool.
You can say Great Island. It's all right.
There's just so many things so many of his stories that he presents them in a way where I'm like, I know this is dumb, but man, it just seems so cool in this world. And I'm so into it. And I felt like with the Ymir backstory shit, I felt like, man, if Togashi was writing this, I feel like I'd be so into it. But I was watching it and I was like, man, I just don't give a fuck about the fucking backstory of this stupid girl. I genuinely just didn't care. That was easily the worst part of the show for me.
Yeah. So you know, kind of same here.
And that was the only like, if there's this, it was a banger of a show. It was really the only part that really started to make me lose interest was that.
Yeah, like
so. What you're saying is you would have liked it if Togashi had written it.
If he'd have just subbed in, let him like sub in, and I'm wondering like, wait, why is there a narrator in Attack on Titan? But I'm down. It'd be so hype if Eren's mental was narrated about why he wanted to do war crimes instead.
And then Eren wanted to kill everyone.
But something changed in Eren in this millisecond.
Meanwhile,
Eren was like,
seen something that Ymir had possessed in him.
Eren was like, don't worry, guys. I'll become a mass murderer for your sakes. I got this. I'll shoulder the sins on myself.
And then the narrator would tell me why. And I'd be like, that's so cool.
If Togashi wrote that line, everyone would be like, goated.
He wouldn't.
Are you saying you wanted things even more explained to you, or?
Well, no, I don't know, because I watched this video.
We just want it to be explained better.
I did have to there was a few times where I had to go back and watch half of the episode again in part 2 to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like to fully comprehend what's happening.
Yeah. And I feel like it's a good and bad thing. It's like cool that you have a show that is so much depth to it that I almost have to pause and have a think, but also very annoying that I watch this first, and maybe I'm just dumb, which is probably a very reasonable assumption here to make. But when I'm watching it, I'm just like, man, I'm just confused. Like, what?
I think that's the problem when you add so many like different elements, because I think the advantage the earlier season had was like the simplicity.
Yeah.
And with the final season, it was already complex enough with the political stuff. That was already great, and that was what I was interested in. And then you add the Titan mechanics with time traveling and inheriting wills and all this bullshit. And like, if you like think about it deeply, you kind of are just like, it starts to just get more confusing as as every
and less
kind of
compelling, I think.
Yeah. To me, that was never why I liked Attack on Titan. That was never the main focus. I know some people love to go into lore diving, but like for me, one of the things that bothered me please explain, Attack on Titan lore experts, if I'm misunderstanding something. But in season 4, where every descendant of the royal had like special was the only one that could take on the powers of the special founding titan, whatever, right? And then it's explained that every Eldian, or is that the right word?
Eldians,
yeah. Every Eldian comes from the same person, Ymir. Yeah. So how do you distinguish between who's royal and who's not when they all share the same bloodline? Like I couldn't understand. What made the difference between a royal and just a normal person that shared blood from the same creator. I was just like,
I can already see the manga readers in the comments being like, it's in the inner linings of the manga. You had to have read the manga.
It got to the point where I was like, man, I'll just wait for the YouTube lore deep dive explainer. Like, I'll just wait because like I feel like I'm not prepared for this story
where's the
anymore.
Digino anime video for the Attack on Titan lore?
And then when you get to that point where you start like breaking down the mechanics, that's when I start to get less interested because
I need a 1 hour YouTube video to explain it. I'm like, I kind of checked out.
Because it just like kind of like detracts from what the story's trying to tell either. Because and it feels like it almost had to be written this way because he had to explain something about it, But that was, to me, that was never the main strengths of Attack on Titan as a story. And now with this ending, I was completely satisfied. I think it could have been executed a little bit cleaner. Most of it had to do with lore stuff. Had to do with like lore stuff. I'm not gonna lie. But in terms of like all the character resolutions, I was happy with the ending we got. I know
they stuck the landing. Could you say?
I'd say they landed on 2 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
They might have like stumbled along the way, but they didn't fall over.
But they finished it off. They finished off the boat.
I just realized whenever they're in that goddamn fucking sand realm with the tree, that's when I was like, fuck, this episode's gonna be boring. whenever they go to this, like I don't know, type in Attack on Titan Ymir world or something.
The path.
Yeah. This is fucking. Let me show you. Yeah, whenever they fucking go here, I'm like, God, this episode's gonna be boring.
But cool background though.
Actually, like it's funny because the final season, kind of like the actual final episode that we got, that was probably my least favorite part of Attack on Titan.
The action was kind of boring.
It looked gorgeous.
It looked gorgeous, but I felt like I know what's going to happen here. Come on.
No. Do you know what it felt like? It felt like when you watch a Marvel movie, and like some Marvel movies have like really interesting concepts.
We're in the third act fight.
And you're like, and then you get to the third act fight, you're like, all right, this big CGI battle, all right, wrap it up. Let's wrap it up.
We know they're gonna win.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh no, Doctor Strange is gonna lose. Oh,
ain't no way.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was kind of like my feel. Like compared to that, I will take this because this actually has like some interesting character moments in it, like some of the path stuff. But like the final battle, I was like, it looks great. It looks funny. Nothing's really interesting is happening with the characters, so it's just action scenes. So it's just pretty fireworks, which is the way you should conclude a show or whatever. Sure. But I was waiting for how the ending was meant to happen, which was great. Question to you guys. Let's like
that from Gone.
How much do you think the ending really matters? Because I was going to ask this to you, Joey, which is you haven't seen the ending yet.
Yeah.
How much is the ending, and how much can the ending affect your opinion on like everything that a series has achieved
I think
so
the
far?
ending is very, very important. I think when people talk about overall fantastic shows that become memorable, a lot of people think about the ending. Like there are so many like, great, decent, even fantastic shows that we had, which had a really fucking horrible ending, which just completely ruined the entire reputation of the show. Even though the show up until that point was pretty decent, like look at like Dead Man Wonderland, for instance, right? Like pretty decent show up until the last couple of episodes, and then it just fucking ruins everything. Whereas,
actually, Dead Man Wonderland just never got.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
The manga was bad there.
The manga was a lot better, right? But like,
No, the manga still sucked.
The manga was better than the anime.
It was better, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was the ending,
but not
was
by
terrible.
much, right? But
Yeah.
just having even a good or decent ending does wonders for a show. Look at why do you think say Code Geass, for instance, is still talked about to this day?
But I feel like
because that's a goated ending.
It's most stories always go for a safe ending. Think about most stuff you watch; they always go for the ending that is kind of being telegraphed the entire time.
But I would rather take a safe ending than a shit ending.
yeah.
It's very risky.
Correction, most anime I watch don't even get endings.
Well, yeah. That
so
too.
actually just getting an ending in and of itself is actually a pretty
I
rare
agree.
fucking deal.
I actually think I don't care about endings that much. I feel like it's more about the journey. And if a show has a bad ending, I'll probably remember that. But it's so rare.
Yeah.
It's so rare that an amazing show will be amazing all the way through and then just have a shit ending.
Yeah, because I was like, I think I had this thought, with Attack on Titan, because, even with some of the weirdest stuff that happened in the, even with some of the stuff they changed from the manga ending to the anime ending, they weren't that much different. It wasn't that much different. And I remember thinking, when we talk about bad endings, everyone brings up Game of Thrones. And that wasn't a bad ending. That was a bad few seasons that also had a bad ending.
Yeah, it was leading up to being terrible. So when everyone's like, man, the ending of Game of Thrones is so bad, I think they just meant you going into the final season, you really didn't feel good about it.
Yeah, that was like a good 3 seasons of going downhill to a final season.
Okay,
being
I have I just thought of an
I-
example of an amazing show that had a pretty crummy ending.
What?
Yu Yu Hakusho.
But was
You
it
don't
like,
even remember
was
the
it like the
ending.
last few?
That's how
Was it like
lackluster
the
that
last
shit was.
few moments leading up to it were lackluster? Or was it literally just amazing right until it ends?
It was, in my opinion,
What's wrong with the ending?
it was fucking rushed. Even Togashi said it was rushed.
It was okay, but
Was it that bad though?
It had it had so much potential and it just fucking fumbled itself, in my opinion.
yeah, I mean, the final arc was weak as hell compared to everything that came
But the
previously.
final arc had so much potential, and then it just was like, never mind, we're done.
I mean, it just kind of ended. I wouldn't say it was like a bad end. People with the Attack on Titan endings, especially with what I've read about manga readers, they were just like, oh, this has ruined the entire series for me. And I'm like, can a final scene or can a final chapter actually change your perception of an entire series?
I do think it can if you do a bad enough job.
I also think though it's
yeah.
not fair with Attack on Titan because I think the expectations of every anime watcher and every Attack on Titan fan was just astronomically huge.
But I also think that let's say you read that line from Armin where he just goes against his entire character.
Yeah.
That happened in Game of Thrones as well with Jamie. One of the big criticisms that in the very last scene in Game of Thrones, they kind of this character who'd been having this whole redemption arc for the past few seasons just says something that literally goes against everything that he'd been building up to. Right. And then it's kind of like a slap in the face. And I imagine that's probably why some of the fans got very annoyed at Attack on Titan is that, hey, we have this character who we've been learning so much about for the past 10 years. And then he says one thing that is like, wait, what the fuck?
Right, yeah.
It's like, it's like finding out a friend that you play fucking Valorant with does war crimes. You're like, what the fuck? I thought we were kidding when we said we like this. What the hell? It's
weird example. Do you have a friend like that?
long story. It's like
I would actually say a more accurate analogy would probably be like, oh, you find out your friend Valorant is like a Nazi sympathizer. That is literally what it would be.
yeah, you're like, man, a lot of the stuff started to make sense now.
They definitely exist.
I think that you can do stuff that ruins characters.
Kanye fans be like,
I mean, bro, look at his music, dude. No one plays that shit anymore.
That is true. Kanye is a great example.
You can do stuff that ruins the story and the characters.
Worst ending.
but he made Graduation. Season 1 Kanye was the best. Holy shit. Oh my god, sorry.
I think again, Attack on Titan, I feel is a very special instance in the anime world because again, it had so much of a dedicated fan base and it was such a long-running series that the expectations for it to do the perfect triple axel at the end and land it completely 10 out of 10 was almost expected with how much the show was hyping itself up and how much the fans were hyping itself up. So I think it's kind of a double-edged sword of when a show gets that popular and that hyped up, and the fans are expecting only the best thing from it, and they don't get exactly the most mind-blowing ending imaginable, even if it was like a good ending, right?
Yeah.
Like a perfectly fine, safe ending, as you guys put it, right?
Yeah.
I think it still undervalues itself compared to how people wanted it to actually be. And so people look at that and go, well, it wasn't exactly mind-blowing, aka it wasn't great.
Yeah.
And then that's where the criticisms start, I feel.
Because like I feel like, you know, I don't know how many times we've experienced an anime ending where it's just kind of like completely changed our perception, because most of the time when we watch a long-running show get to an end, the show's already done everything it's needed to do, and the last like 10 kind of like % of that is just like, okay, I am finishing this just because I just want to close this chapter, you know,
Right.
which is what I feel like a lot of people who are watching the final episode of Attack on Titan felt. They just wanted to close this chapter off because they had been such a big part of their lives for like the last 10 years, you know.
But it is possible to have like that ending that the fans watching that show and have been following that show with, you know, kind of look at and go, okay, that is definitely, for one, almost, you know, goes beyond our expectations of the show, even though we had high expectations for it.
Yeah.
And was not necessarily like the safe way to end it. Like, again, like I'm going to bring back Code Geass again, because like the ending of season 2, I think a lot of people watched that when it was even airing and was like, holy shit, that ending is insane. Like so many people weren't expecting that ending. And that show was already a very popular show and had very high expectations for it to stick the landing. And I think it...
Oh, the execution was insane.
The execution, I dare say, was
could have
perfect.
It easily could have been fucking stupid, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the ending was one of those that I could see it going really badly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
You know, it just wasn't executed perfectly.
But I feel like they also, you know, they also took a risk with that ending as well. And because that could have gone south very easily. But they were just in that lucky position where they managed to create something that was unique and memorable and amazing, which is very difficult to do. You know?
Yeah.
And now they're bringing him back, so that's fucked.
Because like you talked about Yu Yu Hakusho, and I remember thinking, I don't necessarily remember too much of the ending. I just remember the last arc being weak. But what I do remember was just like, it doesn't really matter. Like, Yu Yu Hakusho still goated, you know.
No, it's still goated.
Yeah, that didn't like change my perception of Yu Yu Hakusho at all, but it's also a different kind of story, I guess, because, you know...
I think the problem with Yu Yu Hakusho was that it kind of cut itself short at the moment where it could have turned into something amazing. Whereas like clearly Togashi's heart was not in it for the final arc.
Yeah.
You know, the dark tournament arc, I think he put 100% of his effort in. And if he had ended it there, would have been goated. Like no complaints whatsoever. I think the fact that he went on to half-ass this final arc kind of just made it be like...
I'm
Basically, it's a thing that happens a lot in Shonen Jump, which is just, they kind of just cut it off.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you get bored of it.
Yeah, no matter what.
That's how we get half of the fucking awful endings in anime.
Yeah.
Like, all right, pack it up, champ.
It's like, wrap it up, guys, wrap it up.
You're done.
Yeah, like, I remember my most recent, like, holy shit, this ending is fucking bad, is probably Promised Neverland Season 2. So no, not even Promised Neverland Season 2. Promised Neverland, the manga.
Oh, the manga.
The manga, yeah.
Because I know season 2 ending, we don't talk about that.
Season 2 ending was just like, that was just something different. That was a bad adaptation. But season, like the final arcs of Promised Neverland, that was just kind of took what was like, to me, I don't know if it was rushed. It kind of felt like it was rushed. 90% of bad endings, in my opinion,
are rushed.
Kind of like it feels like it's rushed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you can't spend like 500 fucking episodes fucking around in some field in some anime and then just have 20 episodes be the ending. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like One Piece, if it ever ends, is gonna have to do like a fucking 500 chapter lead up. Otherwise, people are gonna be like, it's rushed.
I think that's what they're currently doing.
Yeah, probably. You got to. Like, you have, like, it has to be such a giant arc to end it. Otherwise, people will be like, nah, it's rushed.
Well, I think a lot of the issues with anime endings, especially when it comes to like action focus. So I'm gonna bring up a very, very old anime that I don't know how many people have watched this, but the anime is called Buso Renkin.
I've heard of this.
Goated.
You've seen it? Yo, that's going back to the anime man days,
I love Buso Renkin.
What's the plot about?
I do not remember.
It's shown in Jump from like 2003, 2004, something like that.
But like the important thing about that ending that like I remember was that normally in like an anime ending, you have the final episode be like action focused, like it was in Attack on Titan, for example, where you have the final climax scene, and that's the final ending to the show.
Also, Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's so nostalgic, bro.
This is
That's
nostalgic.
so
as
nostalgic.
hell.
It looks like Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's nostalgic as hell.
Nostalgic
But
as fuck.
the reason I remember this one is because this entire final episode was just epilogue. And just tying up loose ends. No action.
Episodes.
And I'm like, why did more shows not do this? Why do you have to feel like, hey, this final episode has to have action in it because that's the climax?
Not every action anime has to end with the main characters fighting with the opening playing over it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
You can tell the after story. It's fine.
I think another one of the anime goats, the ending is so good, is gone, as you know, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's a great ending.
It does have a good ending. It does have a good ending.
Does it actually? There's an epilogue, and it's really fucking good.
It does have a good ending.
It ties up the story so goddamn well, and I think it's a reason why that show also has been remembered as one of the greats.
I agree with that.
I think the ending is just really good.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know why more shows don't do like epilogues. And I'm not being like, when I say epilogue, I don't mean like, one or two like scenes of like what they're doing, but like, no, dedicate an entire fucking episode on what these characters are getting up to. We have been invested in these characters for this long. Do you think we don't care enough to sit down and just check out what their lives are going to be like after the big massive fight, after the big massive event? No, I fucking love that shit.
Just hearing the characters talk over and reminiscing over those final events is already interesting enough, where people are like, oh, okay, so that's how they felt about it.
Yeah.
You know, and now it creates this nice close to be like, well, you know what? They're alive. They're doing good. I'm happy for them. Cool.
Exactly,
You know,
right?
that's all we need.
That to me brings more closure than like having to tie up every fucking loose end and ending it off in a big climax. Because not every ending has to be Code Geass. Not every ending has to be fucking Cowboy Bebop, where it ends on like a single iconic moment. Sometimes all you need to do is just let the characters have the send-offs they deserve. Let them cook. Have the send-offs they deserve, and just let them like wallow in that moment for a bit longer than one single scene. That's what I want.
I think I've just been fucking conditioned to just getting used to shows that don't get endings.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that's the majority of it.
Like, I watched all of House of Cards. And then,
what's House of Cards again?
Remember the Netflix, the first
HBO?
The Kevin Spacey one.
Spacey.
Yeah.
I just watched it, and loads of shows around that time just kind of fizzled out that you would just watch. Like Lost, I never fucking finished.
Yeah. What's some endings you remember then? Like anime, not film.
Fuck, I'd love to say it's such a cop out answer. But Breaking Bad was such a good ending. Breaking Bad was a good ending.
That was a good ending.
I really like that ending.
Like that was probably one of the few endings that didn't necessarily do anything grand. It just tied up everything in a neat package, you know? Because when I think of endings that stick out in my mind, you think about things like Code Geass or the ending of like Usual Suspects or fucking Sixth Sense or stuff like that. Something where something iconic happens at the end. But
7.
yeah, 7.
7.
I think it's easier to type a movie in general than it is to watch.
Are we talking like shows? Like
we're talking anything.
anything.
What are some like endings that stick out in your mind?
Right.
As like some of like the goated endings,
I think I'm so bad at this. I can't remember.
Yeah, because like to me, like I named out most of the endings that stuck out to me in terms of like movies.
Right.
In terms of like anime, obviously like Cowboy Bebop was one. And everything else, I know I'm forgetting something. You know that feeling where you're forgetting like something.
I know I'm forgetting
goated?
like at least like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Loads,
We think of Code Geass, we think of stuff like Cowboy Bebop. I can't think of many other iconic anime endings that didn't just, hey, we tied up every loose end. Like Gurren Lagann was something that was just like, hey, we tied up every loose end,
Yeah, but
that's
most people remember
That's
Gurren
fucking
Lagann
hype.
not for the ending, but for episode 16, right? When
Yeah.
happens.
And it was pretty fun though.
No spoilers, but
When they were throwing galaxies at each other.
That was kind of
pretty raw.
That was
pretty raw.
That was fucking
It's
hype.
pretty raw.
I actually wish that got more of an epilogue. Actually,
Yeah.
but that was kind of a hype climax as well.
that was true. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of
Cyberpunk, pretty good. I like Cyberpunk. It really good ending.
what was the ending?
What,
of
the
that?
Edge Runners ending?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a good ending?
I like that ending.
I remember it being a good ending.
I like that ending.
don't remember
I like the message of "fuck you, you're not special." we need more things with some real takes.
Yeah.
I'm tired about hearing the chosen one. I don't care about the chosen one. I want to hear about average Joe who gets too close to the sun.
Do you think more endings should have their like sad endings?
I love endings that are fucked up. Endings that like leave you feeling hollow.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that sticks with me so much longer. Than
You don't like the school days ending.
that.
You literally just described the school days ending.
No,
so
that's
hypocrite.
That's just fucking your way out of
Joey,
like.
fuck off.
Yeah.
Speaking of great,
I'll say it for Connor.
hey,
like-
speaking of great endings,
First of all,
School
not
days.
a great ending. I that ending was
Has to be a
dumb
good
as
series
shit.
where it has a good ending, Joey.
you didn't say anything like
That
that.
ending could have been like the rawest shit if the previous 5 episodes went dog.
Yeah, but it was the rawest shit.
No, but it would have been fucking cool if it was a good show.
That's one of the rare occasions where the show is shit, but the ending is goated.
okay. Credit where credit's due. The ending was fucking weird to the point where I can't forget it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do want more endings where I'm like, what the fuck?
yeah, totally.
I think those kinds of endings stick with you for a lot longer.
Yeah.
Just
Absolutely.
because, you know, I've seen enough endings that are like happy endings or like some are pretty much most endings that I can remember are kind of like bittersweet. You know, I feel like that's the meta. You know, even Attack on Titan.
Most anime endings for me are just like they're just almost unmemorable. Like they end off in a way where it's not 100% conclusive, but it's not 100% left in the dark. You know, it's like the 80s freeze frame equivalent of an ending where it's just like, yep, I guess that's the end now. Cool. You know, it's nothing special nothing special or memorable in either a good or a bad sense, you know.
Right.
But
Because I'm trying to think of a manga ending that actually stuck out to me because I don't see anime endings.
Slam Dunk ending.
I'm reading that, by the way.
The last.
Oh, you're reading that?
The last chapter is goated.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember it.
I'll let you know what I think when it's done.
Let me know what you think about it.
Oh, that was the one with no dialogue,
Yeah,
right?
the no dialogue one.
Okay.
Yeah, that one was goated, and that one he took a risk.
I like the
Yeah.
Gantz ending. It's really fucking weird.
I'm trying to remember the Gantz ending.
Where they like, they just meet some weird aliens.
Oh
And that was just
yeah,
really fucking weird.
yeah, that
Oh,
was
that-
weird.
That wasn't the ending.
Well,
that was
I
like
know,
the lead up
yeah,
to the
yeah.
ending.
Yeah.
The ending I don't remember. That was the last thing I remember about Gantz.
That's
As
in
a
my head,
whole.
that's the ending.
Yeah. I'm gonna toilet quickly and I'm gonna Google iconic endings just in general.